Yes, it's John G. Sutton. Tales from the jails. My eyebrows are twitching now. Anyway, I'm going to tell you a little story about a certain production that I went on to Winchester Prison. I was taking a group of prisoners. They were going to Winchester Prison because the scrubs was absolutely full, and we were transferring inmates all over the place. So we got about 5 of them, and we're taking them to Winchester Prison. So we got down and it got a proper one of the blue vans, you know, the one was with the bars on the window and all the rest of it, secure doors, cuffed up, all cuffed up to the inmates, so they weren't going to jump ship. Yeah. So off we went towards Winchester. There was myself, 2 other officers, and the senior officer was a great big guy. I won't tell you his name, but it was McBride. Yes, McBride. That was his name. And McBride wasn't just a prison officer. He was been in there for a long time, but he was also a member of the Junior Army Regiment, and he had the rank of Sergeant Major in this Junior Army Regiment. So he got the pleasure of marching up and down with a lot of 11-year-old kids playing at being a soldier. What floats your boat? Anyway, so we gets to Winchester Prison. It takes a couple of hours from the scrubs, you know. And of course, by this time, it's about 11:30, 11:45. And we gets to the prison, and they said, well, we're just shutting the gates for lunch now. We'll put them in the holding cells inside the prison, and we'll process them after lunch. So you've got a couple of hours now before we've processed them and give you all the signed documentation to take back to the scrubs. So they said there's a pub about 150 yards on the left. You can go there and have an afternoon drink and a pie or whatever, you know, pasty or whatever it was, or some sandwiches. Well, it's in the day, you know, and I'm not a great fan of drinking in the day. There's a big problem. I mean, you've got to travel around. If you're going to have 2 hours in the back of a van and you've got about 4 pints of bitter inside you, it's going to be a bit unpleasant. Anyway, so I didn't. I usually have, they used to sell them little Britvic oranges, you know, I used to have them. So you can have one of them and a pasty or a pie or something like that, and you're safe, you know. So that's what I decided I'd have, or something like that. We sat down, and McBride, who was a great big fellow, probably about 6'2", Scottish, of course, yeah, and full of bravado, you know. So we sat down and started necking a few pints, and there was a guy standing at the bar, seriously, a guy standing at the bar, and he said to all of us on the table, because there were 4 of us on the table, you know, he said, I recognise that tie. I said, what are you on about? He said, that guy at the bar. He said, look at him. He says, he's wearing a regimental tie. He said, I recognise that tie. So, seriously, he put his hat on, his prison officer's hat. He was in full uniform, prison officer's hat, and he had boots on, these great big ammunition-style boots, you know, great big size 11s, because he was a big 6'2", 17-stone fella, you know, great big, one of them, you know. So he marches, stands up, stamps to attention. It was about 50 feet from where we were sitting to the bar. Marches across to the bar like that, stamps to attention, throws up a salute. Regimental Sergeant Major McBride at your service, sir. I recognise that tie. And the guy at the bar says to him, why don't you go and fuck off? When all sat down there, McBride's going, you know, so he comes back down, all the way back to the jail to get the paperwork. We're all saying to him, I recognise that tie. Yeah, seriously, you could virtually see the steam coming out of McBride's head. He was that angry, and he was all red with it, which was not a good sign. Yeah. Anyway, he gets back to Winchester prison to get the paperwork, and who should we encounter there but the senior medical officer from Wormwood Scrubs? And he came up to us and he said, "You recognise me? I'm the senior medical officer from Wormwood Scrubs, I said, "I'm going back there." He said, "Is there any chance that I can get a lift with you?" So, why not? He said, "But the thing is," he said, you can't say anything. I'll drop me off at the end of Duquesne Road, about 100 yards from the Scrubs." He said, "because I'm claiming expenses for this." Seriously. The senior medical officer from the Scrubs, yeah. So he said, "Yeah, get in the back of the van." So he got in the back of the van with us, and he was all right. It was good crack on the way back. The story, because we were all telling him the story about I recognised that tie, which he thought was absolutely hilarious. Lots of staff have mad ideas about their importance about being a prison officer, and it's completely and utterly mistaken. There was a group of prison staff who came off duty, and they were on late shifts, finished duty about 8:45. So they went into the bar just outside the gates. The prison bar, well, it's probably not there now, I doubt it. But where you look at the twin towers at the Scrubs, yeah, the brown and white towers and the big iron gates, the big oak and iron gates, yeah. But just to the left of that, as you're looking at it directly, that was the prison club. So they came out there and they went in there, and they must have had about 4 or 5 pints each. They said, "All right, we're all going to go to the chippy now before we finished, at the night, about 10:30 at night." And they were all in uniform, yeah. And as they were walking down Duquesne Road to the chip shop, a load of louts started shouting abuse at them. "Hey, screw bastards," and all that. It's pretty much what you'd expect if you go parading round in public in a prison officer's uniform, but not these. They didn't accept that, no. The senior officer there said, "Right, lads, draw your truncheons." And seriously, they all whipped out the truncheons like this, yeah? Seriously. Got them in their hands, and this said, "We'll sort these bastards out. After me, lads, charge!" And they went chasing these lads, boosh, boosh, battering them, all the lot of them. I mean, you can't do things like that. The police called and lifted the lot of them. They were going to charge them, seriously, and they should have probably been charged, but they said, "Listen, you're mad. You can't go coming around in prison uniform, attacking the public." I said, "Yeah, but they provoked us, I said, "It still is not a reason to do it." But they did it. Anyway, I got some good news for you. I got a message from Sean Atwood's team. Said they're now editing my interview that I did with him, which ran to over 2 hours. So we'll see how much has survived, yeah. But it was the usual crack, me telling the truth as I see it, honestly, and doing so in a way that I think is reasonably acceptable. And thank you all for your very kind comments. Don't forget, Tuesday night, that's tomorrow, Tuesday night here, we're going to have a live broadcast where you can ask me questions and things like that, and insult me and call me rude names like many of you have been doing. Yeah. And by the way, I am not homophobic. I am not. I mean, I may make observations about other people's actions that I consider to be unreasonable, but I'm not. I believe that if somebody absolutely does actions like that out of love and affection, there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. The only issue I have with it is that it doesn't involve me. Listen, I had to have sedation to undergo a colonoscopy. And if you've never experienced that, then thank your lucky stars. Yeah, seriously. Anyway, I'm going to sing another song, so we'll get this out the way. Yes, it's a song, Erdinger. And I am getting some good reviews for my interpretation of George Formby. So I thought, well, I'm on a roll. I might as well give it a go. So here we are with My Little Stick of Blackpool Rock. And you've got to decide, is this song about a little stick of sweetie stuff, or is it about something else? The cheeky chappie himself, George Formby. Here we are. My Little Stick of Blackpool Rock. Every year when summer comes around, off to the sea I go. I don't care if I do spend £1. I'm rather rash, I know. See me dressed like all the sports, in my blazer and a pair of shorts, with me little stick of Blackpool Rock. Along the promenade I stroll. It may be sticky, but I never complain. It's nice to have a nibble at it now and again. Every day, wherever I stay, the kids all round me flock. One afternoon the band conductor up on the stand somehow lost his bat and it flew out of his hand. So I jumped up in his place and conducted the band with me little stick of Blackpool Rock. With me little stick of Blackpool Rock. Along the promenade I stroll. In my pocket it got stuck, I could tell, 'cause when I pulled it out I pulled my shirt off as well. Every day, wherever I stray, the kids all round me flock. A girl was bathing close to me, my wits had to use. She cried, I'm drowning, and to save, if you won't refuse. I said, well, if you're drowning, then I don't want to lose my little stick of Blackpool Rock. With my little stick of Blackpool Rock. Along the promenade I stroll. In the ballroom I went dancing each night. No wonder every girl that danced me stuck to me tight. Every day, wherever I stray, the kids all round me flock. A fella took my photograph, it cost 1 and 3. I said when it was done, is that supposed to be me? You probably mucked it up, but the only thing I can see is me little stick of Blackpool Rock. It turned out nice again, didn't it? Right, that's it. My Little Stick of Blackpool Rock. Tuesday, tomorrow, 7 p.m. UK time. I will be here. Tales from the jail.